Hi guys, Rodian Builds here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to build a rustic fire pit in your back garden. Before we get into it, YouTube does show me that 81% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So if you do enjoy these videos, please do think about going down below and subscribing. It really does help me out. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the video. First thing you need to do is find a suitable area you'd like to build your fire pit, and then mark out where the centre of your fire pit is going to be, and then take a string line. So you put the pin line in the centre, and then you move the line however far away you would like, basically the radius of the fire pit itself. And then once you have that set at the diameter that you want, all you do is you run around and either mark the dirt with the pin, or if it is straight on grass, I would suggest using spray paint, so then you can see it. I don't have any spray paint, so I'm just marking it out on the dirt. And then once you've marked that out, you basically dig it out. You want to dig it down about 150 millimeters. Now we have our concrete base, and we've left it for, I would suggest, at least 2 days to go off. You probably can walk on it after 24 hours, but I would suggest at least 2 days. 2 to 3 days probably is ideal. So once you have your base, you need to find the centre. So take a level and draw a line all the way across. Now I like to do this at least 3 times, because you're not really going to know the exact centre of the circle until you do a few of these lines. So yeah, that'll do. That looks like the centre to me. From here, you need to know how big you want your fire pit to be, from outside to outside, the total diameter. In this case, we are going to build one that has a total diameter of 1.5 metres. I don't know what that is in feet for you viewers across the pond. About 5 foot, my assistant has told me. Oh, okay. About 1.5 metres. So from here, you take a trammel. Now this, like I just said, is called a trammel, and it will help you draw. It's essentially a pair of compasses, but on a bigger scale. So I have already preset this to 750 millimeters. You want to set it to half of the diameter of what you would like your circular fire pit to be. You put the pointy end in the center, and then all you do is you use that other end, the pencil end, and just draw one big circle. Now we're going to do 2 of these. This line that I'm drawing now is going to be known, or is what is called as the extrados. It's a, I don't know if it's Latin, but it's the fancy name for the outside line, as I like to call it. If you know anything about brickwork or bricklaying before watching this, and you have built some arches, you will know that the extrados is the outside of an arch. So this is in sense exactly the same as that, but the arch just happens to be flat on the ground and a big circle. So you draw that around all the way, and you have the outside line that we are going to follow when building our fire pit. But from here, we're going to have to draw what is called the intrados. Now you get 10 points if you can guess what line that is we're going to draw. I need my brick. I'm going to jump ahead quickly and just explain that once we've built this, we're going to be building it out of what are known as half bats, half bricks that I've pre-cut in half. This makes building the circle a lot easier than using full bricks, Basically, if you do it with full bricks, you have to cut what are called voussoirs. I'm not going to explain that about that now. We're going to go into a little bit of detail about that in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the intrados, again, like I was saying, the inside line. So you take the brick, you line it up with the lines on the outside, the extrados, as I spoke about before, and you measure from the center point to the inside of that brick. Tell you what, to make it easier, I'll mark it on the line, on the concrete. So we have that line, and then you measure that, and that turns out to be 514 millimeters. So now I will set my trammel to 514 millimeters, and I will draw another circle which will be smaller on the inside, and that will be our guide for the inside course of bricks that we're going to be laying. So I will just lay that now, draw that out now, and get back to you. So now we have our intrados and our extrados marked out on the concrete, and we have the footprint of the fire pit so we can see exactly what we're going to be building, the size of it. I'm going to be building this out of what is known as 9-inch brickwork. So imperial bricks used to be 9 inches long, 4 inches wide, and about 3 inches high. More modern bricks are a little bit different. They are slightly smaller. So these are metric, as in they're measured in millimeters, and these are imperial, as in they're measured in feet and inches. Well, they're not going to be feet, it's inches. So I'm going to be building it 9 inches thick. I'm going to have, as you can probably tell, I have got a load of half brick cuts. They're known as half bats. Now, the reason that I'm using halves rather than a full brick is because if you had a whole brick, you'd have to cut the entire brick into what is known as a voussoir. So this is how I'm going to be building this wall. Now, you can cut voussoirs to do it, and I will show you what a voussoir is right here. This is a normal metric brick, and this here is a pre-cut voussoir, one I did earlier. As you can possibly tell, the top is exactly the same and the bottom is slightly smaller. Now, the reason you cut voussoirs is to do circular brickwork. Like, for example, we're going to do a brick on edge on the top of this fire pit, and we're going to cut them out of these voussoirs, so when you go round, all the joints are going to be exactly the same size, because if you don't do that, all the joints are going to be much bigger on the outside than they are on the inside, and it doesn't look very nice. However, if you did want to cut voussoirs for all of the bricks on the inside, they would be face down like so, but they'll be in the voussoir pattern. So the outside would be the normal size, but the inside of the brick would be probably half the size, and you can follow it all the way around and you will have equal joints all the way through. You can do that. But the reason that I'm doing it this way is purely for speed. It's a lot easier to do this and then cut voussoirs for the brick on edge. And that is exactly how we're going to do it. Hopefully that made sense. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the voussoir video. So if you do decide you do want to cut voussoirs around this, then you can crack on and go ahead with that. So yeah, go and check that video out once you've watched this to see how to cut voussoirs. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out, before we go ahead putting any of these half bats down and actually building the fire pit, I'm going to mark out a template for the voussoir, because we are going to be doing a brick on edge on the top. So what that means is a brick on edge is literally a brick placed on its edge. However, I will be cutting them like voussoirs so that they do fit together on top nicely, and you can have a nice even joint all the way around, and it will look like that all the way around. Like I said, if you want a little bit more information on voussoirs and what they look like, then I will leave the voussoir video in the description so you can go and check that out. So I'm not going to explain how to do that in this video because I don't want this video to be 100 years long. So I'm going to set out the template now, mark out the voussoir and get the template ready so that I know I can do that. I can cut them when we're ready once we've built up to the correct height. Because if you do it now, you've got the pencil lines on the concrete to work with, whereas if you do it once you've built it up, it's a hell of a lot more difficult. So I'll get back to you once I've made that template. Before you get going and start laying your bricks, I would suggest setting out your first course of bricks like I have here, and run around with a pencil and mark off all the joints so you know exactly where the bricks are going to go. I'll do it on the outside and also on the inside as well, just so that if you come to the end and you find that the brick doesn't fit or is too big of a gap, you don't really want that to happen. So this would negate that and you wouldn't have to worry. So spend the time here now getting everything prepped, and then once you've started building, you won't come into any problems. And also I have done a video about laying a curved wall like this. So I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video because I don't particularly want this video to be like 2 hours long. So if you are interested in actually building one of these, then I will again leave a link to that video down in the description so that you can check out exactly how to lay to a line, because I do go into quite a bit of detail. So with that being said, I will probably time-lapse this build and come back to you a little bit later, unless I find that there is something in the meantime when I need to talk to you about. But until then, enjoy the show. Right, I just want to jump in here quickly before I continue the build and show you why I build it with 2 sets of headers rather than just using one large brick like that instead of that. So number one, first off, rather than using 2 bricks, like imagine that this line here is the line that I was working on to out there. If you use large bricks like that, you'd have absolutely massive joints like this. And in this case, you can get down to sort of the 10mm that you're looking for. But also another reason why we don't use bricks this way, like going around like this, again, is because you got that massive gap. Also, another reason why we do 2 courses of the headers rather than just doing 1 course of headers all the way around is because, as you can see on the outside, I've got it relatively circular onto that line. Obviously it won't be perfect because I don't have circular bricks, but on the inside sometimes you can see that bricks vary in size. They're not an exact science, brick sizings. So you can see this lump here. You come around here, you can see there are lumps. Obviously I haven't pointed this up. There we go, there's another lump there. There are lumps that stick out, which basically means generally in brickwork you're only going to ever have one nice side, the face side, which will be this side. This will be the nice side. So the inside, and also you can probably see it leans a little bit, but I'm just showing you that that's why you have two sets of headers, because you can't guarantee that the inside is going to look as nice as the outside. Always concentrate on the outside, the face side looking nice, and then have 2 courses, the inside, and you can do exactly the same. The inside, you're never going to see it because we're going to have those brick on edge on top in the end. So that'll at least make the inside nice and the outside nice. I know because it's a fire pit, the inside is probably going to get blackened. So if you did just want to do the 4-inch, the single skin all the way around, it's completely up to you, but I wouldn't advise it because it looks minging. It looks absolutely disgusting. So yeah, I just thought I'd just jump in there and just let you know a couple of reasons. There you go, is why we do 2 skins of those headers. Back to the build. There we go, guys. That is how you build a rustic fire pit in your back garden. I'm going to leave the links to those 2 videos I spoke about earlier, the cutting voussoirs, which are the bricks on the top here, and also laying bricks to a radius, which obviously comes into effect when you build the fire pit itself. I'm also going to leave a link down below to the playlist Bricklaying for Beginners, in case anyone gets spurred on by this and decides they want to have a go at some more bricklaying. So have a little look down there, and that will help you out learn a few bricklaying tips. Right, with that being said, we'll leave it there for today. So please do leave a like down below if you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you aren't already. Ring that notification bell to be notified every time I upload a video. And I will see you guys in the next one. So take care. See you then. Ta-ra.